Dear friend, today I want you to imagine this. You wake up on a crisp autumn morning. The sky is clear. You feel the urge to get out of bed, take a few steps toward the balcony, and greet the rising sun. But the moment your feet touch the floor, something feels off. A slight tingling in your soles, followed by a faint unsteadiness as you try to balance yourself. You pause, standing still, as if your body hasn't quite tuned in to your mind's intention to move. Have you ever felt that way? I remember one of my former patients very clearly. Harold, 72 years old, a retired physical education teacher. He used to walk 5 miles every day around his neighborhood, but recently he had started hesitating at staircases. He told me he sometimes felt like 1,000 tiny needles were pricking the bottom of his feet, especially when standing still for too long. Gradually, he began to feel like his legs didn't quite belong to him anymore. The strange thing was, all of his basic tests came back normal. His blood sugar, heart function, nothing alarming. But when I suggested checking his vitamin B12 levels, the answer became clear. He was severely deficient. You see, vitamin B12 is one of those tiny nutrients we often overlook. Most people think they're covered as long as they eat meat, eggs, or take a daily multivitamin. But after the age of 60, things change. Our bodies gradually lose the ability to absorb B12 from food. To do so properly, your stomach needs to produce enough acid and something called the intrinsic factor. But as we age, many people stop producing enough of both. On top of that, common medications, especially those for diabetes or acid reflux, can quietly worsen this deficiency over time. Think of it this way. Lacking B12 is like trying to make a phone call when the line has been chewed through by a mouse. The signal from your brain just can't reach your feet the way it should. The peripheral nerves, especially in your legs, begin to misfire or fire too late. You might start to notice tingling or numbness in your feet or hands, pins and needles sensations that come and go, a vague sense of imbalance or disconnect with your own movement. You might find yourself walking, but feeling out of sync, like your feet are moving, but you're not quite sure where they're landing. You may experience a strange lightheadedness when you stand up, or even lose your balance while standing still, on a perfectly flat floor. I remember Harold once told me, "I'm not afraid of dying, Doc, but I'm afraid of falling. I'm afraid of losing the ability to walk on my own, to take care of myself." And I understood that fear. Because when an older adult falls, it's not just the fall itself that hurts. It's often the loss of independence, of freedom, and of confidence that follows. But here's the good news. A B12 deficiency can be corrected quickly, if caught early. We started Harold on sublingual B12 tablets, the kind that dissolve under the tongue, because they bypass the digestive system and absorb directly into the bloodstream. Just 3 weeks later, he called me, his voice full of energy. "Doc, I just walked through the park. No cane, no wobble, no fear." You see, the magic doesn't always come from something complicated or high-tech. Sometimes it's simply your body being reconnected the right way. Vitamin B12 helps repair the protective coating around your nerves, like rewiring an old cable so the signal flows smoothly again. With enough B12, you might start noticing little changes each day. Less numbness in your feet, fewer muscle cramps, steadier steps, and deeper sleep, because your nervous system finally feels calm again. So how do you know if you're low on B12? Simple. Ask your doctor for a blood test. Check your serum B12 levels. If it's below 400 picograms per milliliter, even if you're not feeling severe symptoms yet, your body's already sending you early warning signs. And please, don't wait until a fall happens. Take action before that moment arrives. I'm not sharing this to scare you. I'm sharing it because I believe this. Your body still wants to help you live fully. It just needs the right tools. And sometimes one small vitamin can be a big step toward getting your freedom and confidence back. The human body has a truly remarkable ability to heal. At any age. I've witnessed it hundreds of times. In the bright eyes of patients who once believed they were too old or too far gone. But with one small change, they began to stand taller, walk more freely, and rediscover joy in their everyday lives. You know your body better than anyone else. So if something doesn't feel quite right, listen to it. It might be something as simple as a lack of vitamin B12. I hope this video serves as a gentle yet powerful reminder. Age isn't what causes your legs to fail. Poor nutrition is. If you or someone you love is experiencing any of the symptoms we've talked about today, please share this video with them. And don't forget, leave a comment or a question below. I'll respond from the heart and from decades of experience. Let me ask you something. Have you ever been fast asleep and suddenly jolted awake by a brutal cramp in your calf? The pain is sharp, sudden, like someone tied a rope around your muscle and yanked it tight. You jump up, stretch, massage, pray for it to pass, and eventually it does. But your sleep, it's gone for the night. I once treated a woman named Margaret, 68 years old, a lifelong gardener with a love for roses and the outdoors. She told me, "You know, Doc, I'm not afraid of pulling weeds or getting sore after working in the yard. But those nighttime cramps, they rip me right out of my peaceful world and throw me into a full-blown muscle war at 2 a.m. She'd tried everything, calcium supplements, heat packs, changing sleep positions. But nothing worked. Every night the cramps would wake her up. Same leg, same pain. Until we ran a simple test and uncovered what seemed like a small issue, a severe magnesium deficiency. Magnesium, my friend, is one of the body's quiet heroes. It doesn't get a lot of attention, but it plays the role of a silent conductor, orchestrating the rhythm of your entire body, especially your muscles and nerves. When your magnesium levels are low, it's like the conductor has left the stage. Suddenly, everything gets out of sync. Muscles twitch and cramp. Nerves misfire. Sleep becomes restless or broken, and your body starts to feel like it's fighting itself. When your body is low on magnesium, something subtle but serious begins to happen. The signals between your cells get scrambled. Your muscles may tighten suddenly, twitch, or cramp. You might feel a restless sensation in your legs, a mild tremor, or even struggle with falling and staying asleep. A few recent studies from Harvard University showed that older adults with low magnesium levels are twice as likely to suffer from nighttime leg cramps compared to those with normal levels. The good news? It often takes just 200 to 400 milligrams of magnesium a day to calm muscle spasms, relax the nervous system, and dramatically improve sleep quality. But here's the sad truth. Many people over 60 are magnesium deficient and don't even know it. Why? The reasons are surprisingly simple. Diets low in leafy greens, beans, seeds, and whole grains. Blood pressure medications or diuretics, which cause your body to flush out magnesium. And let's not forget caffeine, alcohol, and chronic stress, all of which quietly deplete your magnesium without giving anything back. I remember another patient. Paul, 66 years old, a jazz musician with a soul full of rhythm, but a body that had forgotten how to rest. He hadn't slept well in years. He had frequent leg cramps, restless nights, and, as he put it, a short fuse, even when nothing's wrong. After we started him on a small dose of magnesium citrate each evening, he came back to me weeks later and said, "I'm sleeping deeper, Doc. But more than that, I wake up and I don't feel old anymore." As someone who's lived over 6 decades on this earth and cared for thousands more, let me tell you this. There's nothing quite as precious as a peaceful pair of legs when you lie down at night. If you're struggling with nighttime leg cramps, stiffness or soreness when you wake up, interrupted sleep due to muscle twitching or restlessness, your body might be gently knocking on your door, trying to tell you, "I need more magnesium." Try adding just a few simple things to your daily meals. A handful of almonds or pumpkin seeds, a serving of steamed spinach or Swiss chard, a small piece of dark chocolate, yes, 70% or higher, or even a cup of warm magnesium-rich tea before bed. Sometimes what helps us sleep better isn't a sleeping pill. It's a mineral we've been missing all along. A small handful of lightly roasted almonds, a plate of sautéed spinach with garlic, a square of rich dark chocolate, 70% cacao or higher, and perhaps a warm cup of magnesium-infused tea before bed. These aren't just comforting choices. They're small daily acts of care, and in time your body will thank you for it. You don't have to spend another night battling surprise cramps or twitching legs. You deserve restful sleep, at any age. You deserve to wake up without fearing that first step on the cold floor. Thank you for spending this moment with me. If you saw yourself, or someone you love, in these stories, I invite you to leave a comment below. I read every message, and if I can help, I'll respond not just as a doctor, but as a trusted friend who's walked this path a little longer. And now, dear friend, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like your body is moving just a bit slower than the world around you? Maybe you tried to step a little faster crossing the street, but your legs felt stiff. Or maybe you stood up from your chair after a long evening, and your body moved like an old machine that hadn't been oiled in years. That feeling? I call it losing rhythm. And sometimes it's not about aging. It's simply your body lacking something small, yet essential, that helps orchestrate your inner rhythm. Potassium. I once met a man named Walter, 70 years old, tall, strong, a retired construction worker who'd walked with power his whole life. But over time, something changed. But then one morning, Walter felt a wave of lightheadedness as he stood up. A few days later, while washing his car, he was struck by a painful cramp in his leg. He couldn't believe it. A man who once lifted 100-pound bags of cement, now brought to his knees by a garden hose. We ran some tests, and sure enough, his potassium levels were low. Potassium, you see, is like the body's sound engineer. It keeps everything in tune and running smoothly. It helps your muscles contract and relax at the right moment, your heart beat with steady rhythm, your nerves send clean, accurate signals. And most importantly, it helps you maintain internal balance. When you're low on potassium, you might notice fatigue without explanation, cramps during exercise or daily movement, a sense of trembling or restlessness, or sometimes just struggling to walk a path you once ran with ease. So why do so many older adults become potassium deficient? The most common reason I see is diuretic medications, often prescribed for high blood pressure. Yes, they help your body flush out excess water, but in doing so, they also flush out your potassium. Others may be unintentionally cutting out potassium-rich foods, avoiding carbs or fruits, not realizing that bananas, sweet potatoes, and avocados are some of nature's greatest potassium treasures. And then there's Walter again. After adjusting his medications and adding potassium-rich foods to his diet, he called me back just 1 week later. He said, "Doc, I'm not just walking better. I feel younger. Everything just seems to work together again, like I'm finally in sync." That's the power of giving your body what it's been quietly asking for. Not a miracle pill, not a trendy diet, just the right nutrients, in the right balance, to help you feel whole again. This is what I want you to truly take away today. Potassium won't make you younger, but it will help your body get back in rhythm. The rhythm that feels right, the rhythm that feels like you. And the good news is, you can start small. Eat a banana with your breakfast. Add a few slices of avocado on your morning toast. Enjoy a warm, roasted sweet potato with dinner. Or sip on some cool coconut water on a summer afternoon. And remember, before taking any potassium supplements, please talk to your doctor, because too much potassium, especially if you have kidney issues, can be just as dangerous as not having enough. You see, at this age, we're not racing anyone anymore, but we still need a body that knows how to move in rhythm, a body that helps us feel whole, in control, and at peace. So if you've ever felt like you've fallen a step behind, take a closer look at your potassium levels. It might just be the missing piece, the one that helps you walk a little easier, sleep a little deeper, and smile a little more. Thank you for sitting with me today. If you see yourself or someone you love in this story, share this video with them or leave a comment below. I'll keep answering as a friend. No judgment, no pressure, just a conversation that matters. Keep your heart warm Keep your feet steady because you deserve that, whether you're 60 or 90. And you know, some nutrients never make the headlines. No one advertises them on TV. You won't find influencers calling them the next superfood, but without them, your bones might become as brittle as dry twigs in winter. I'm talking about one of the quiet heroes of healthy aging, vitamin K. I once cared for a patient named Joan, 74 years old, a sweet woman who loved to dance. She looked at me, her eyes glowing with memory. "I used to spin through a full tango in the living room," she said with a smile. "Never needed to hold on to anything. But then it happened. Just one wrong step in the kitchen. She slipped, broke her hip, surgery followed, and from that moment on, she never danced again." When I reviewed Joan's health records, something stood out right away. She wasn't low on calcium, she wasn't low on vitamin D, but she was, almost certainly, deficient in vitamin K. You see, my friend, vitamin K isn't the builder of bones. It's the craftsman that tells calcium where to go. Without enough of it, calcium ends up in the wrong places. Your arteries, joints, even your heart valves, leading to stiffness, pain, and an increased risk of stroke. But with proper vitamin K, calcium is gently guided right into your bones, exactly where it belongs, helping them stay strong yet flexible. There are two forms of vitamin K I want you to remember. Vitamin K1, found in leafy greens like kale, spinach, and broccoli. Vitamin K2, the lesser known but more powerful version, found in eggs, liver, aged cheese, and especially natto, the fermented soy dish eaten daily by many older Japanese adults. And you know what? In places like Okinawa, where people often live well into their 90s and beyond, they eat natto every morning, and their rates of hip fractures are remarkably low. I saw it firsthand during a medical exchange program in Japan. It wasn't luck, it was lifestyle. It was nutrition done right, quietly, consistently, and with purpose. Another patient of mine, Fred, 69 years old, he had been taking high doses of calcium for years, but still, he had stiff joints, and getting up from a chair took real effort. After I suggested he cut back on synthetic calcium and start supplementing with vitamin K2, he came back just a month later and said, "Doc, not only do I have less pain, I feel smoother, like my body's moving the way it should again, especially on the stairs." You see, at our age, the answer isn't always more calcium pills. The real key is helping the body use calcium properly. And vitamin K? It's the GPS that helps get it where it needs to go. But wait, if you're taking blood thinners, like warfarin, you need to be careful. Vitamin K directly affects blood clotting, and any changes, whether from supplements or diet, should be discussed with your doctor first. Please don't take it just because it sounds healthy. Talk it over, it matters. Now let me ask you something, friend. Are you eating leafy greens every day? Do you ever stop and think about small things, like a single egg, a piece of liver, or a little jar of fermented soybeans? Because sometimes your strength for the years ahead comes not from grand gestures, but from tiny choices. No one breaks a bone from skipping dinner one night, but plenty of people suffer fractures because of a long-standing vitamin K deficiency. If you're reading this right now and thinking, "I don't feel as steady on my feet as I used to. My joints crack when I stand up." Or maybe your doctor has told you your bone density is thinning. Then don't just think about calcium. Think about its silent partner, vitamin K. I believe that at this stage of life, most of us aren't trying to fight aging. We just want to live with it, gently, peacefully, and safely. And vitamin K? It might be the one quiet helper that lets you rise from a chair without bracing yourself, step into the garden with confidence, and maybe even dance again, proudly, with your head held high. Thank you for listening to me today. Thank you for hearing Joan's story, Fred's story, and maybe in some small way, your story too. If this message has been helpful to you, please share it with someone you love, or leave a comment below. I read every single one, and when I reply, I'll do so not just as a doctor, but as someone who's walked this path a little longer and still believes there's beauty in every steady step forward. Stick with me for a little longer, because life after 60 isn't about slowing down. It's about learning how to move in the right direction. Have you ever felt this way? You go for a short walk, just a few minutes, and suddenly your heart's racing like you've run a mile. Or maybe you do a little gardening one afternoon, and the next day your muscles ache like you've climbed a mountain. And sometimes you don't even do anything strenuous, yet you feel like your body's running on empty. I've felt that way too. And here's what I've learned. That kind of exhaustion doesn't always mean you're getting old. It doesn't mean you're lazy. Often it simply means your body is missing a spark that fuels your energy, helps your muscles recover, and keeps your nervous system running smoothly. That spark? Vitamin B6. I once had a wonderful patient named Linda, 65 years old, a retired landscape painter. She told me, "Doctor, lately I feel tired and I don't even know why. I only spend a few hours painting, and yet my arms ache, and emotionally I feel like I'm under a cloud that won't lift." So we ran some blood work, and sure enough, Linda was low in vitamin B6. So what is B6? If your body were a moving machine, vitamin B6 would be the oil that keeps the gears turning. Without it, everything feels heavier. Your reactions slow down, and your muscles take much longer to bounce back, even from simple tasks. Vitamin B6 helps convert protein into usable energy, reduce inflammation in the muscles, and support the production of serotonin, your body's natural mood stabilizer, the feel-good hormone. It's one of those quiet nutrients that doesn't get much attention, but without it, life starts to feel sluggish, heavy, dim. It also plays another powerful role. Vitamin B6 helps your body produce new red blood cells, which carry oxygen throughout your body, including to your legs. Now here's something I often tell my patients. Vitamin B6 won't make you fall, but it may make it harder to get back up. And after age 60, your body naturally becomes less efficient at absorbing B6 from food, especially if you're taking medications for arthritis, diabetes, or high blood pressure. These medications, while necessary, can quietly strip away some of your basic energy stores over time. So what can you do? Thankfully, it's simple. You can give your body more B6 through everyday foods. Nothing fancy, just real, familiar nourishment. A piece of grilled salmon, a few slices of steamed potato, a bowl of soft-cooked chickpeas, or even a banana in the morning. Vitamin B6 is water-soluble, so a typical daily dose of 1.5 to 2 milligrams is generally safe. But if you're considering higher doses through supplements, always talk with your doctor first. I remember the day Linda came back to my office for a follow-up. She brought something with her, a pastel painting. It showed a silver-haired woman sitting peacefully beneath a tree, her eyes closed gently and sunlight streaming through the branches above her. I asked, "Who is this?" She smiled and said, "That's me," after I started feeling energy return from the inside. You see, vitamin B6 won't give you the legs of an athlete. It won't turn the clock back 30 years, but it can give you something far more meaningful. The ability to recover faster after a walk, the clarity to focus more deeply, the strength to get through your day without feeling drained. And sometimes it just brings back that quiet inner light you didn't even know had dimmed. That feeling of waking up clear-headed, of moving through the day with steady energy, and that gentle sense of calm, the kind only someone who's lost it truly understands. If you've ever felt a constant, unexplained fatigue, sore muscles without a clear reason, or emotions that shift like the weather inside your heart, then maybe, just maybe, what you're missing is vitamin B6. It might be the small ray of light your body has been waiting for. Thank you for sitting with me today. Thank you for allowing me, a 60-year-old doctor who's walked this road, to share the little things that can make a big difference in your daily life. Please keep walking this path with me, because healthy living isn't about being strong all the time. It's about living with awareness, with care, and with love for your own body. Now I want you to do something simple with me. Take a moment. Look out the window. If the sun is shining, even just a sliver of light through the clouds, Let your eyes rest on it, because after all my years practicing medicine, I can tell you this. Nothing heals quite like sunlight, especially for those of us who've lived a few decades beyond 60. We talk a lot about supplements, about calcium, about staying active, but so often we forget the most accessible, healing, and powerful gift we have, vitamin D. It's a kind of light your body can't make on its own, not unless it's guided by the sun. I once treated a gentleman named Raymond, 73 years old, a quiet soul, the kind of man who stayed indoors more and more, especially after losing his wife. Raymond started noticing his legs weakening. His steps became slower, more cautious. Sometimes even just standing up from a chair, he had to grip the edge of the table for support. We ran some tests, and what we found was eye-opening. His vitamin D levels were dangerously low, barely half of what's considered safe. You see, after age 60, our skin doesn't convert sunlight into vitamin D the way it used to. At the same time, we tend to spend less time outdoors. We apply sunscreen carefully. We avoid the sun because of concerns about age spots or changes in skin tone. The result? Muscles start to weaken without a clear reason. Reaction times slow down. And studies show people with severe vitamin D deficiency have twice the risk of falling. You might be thinking, but I eat well, I drink milk every day. How could I still be low in vitamin D? The truth is, milk isn't enough. Eggs aren't enough. Even salmon might not be enough if your body isn't absorbing it properly. Vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin. So if you're over 60 and your digestive system isn't working as efficiently, or if you've been on anti-inflammatory or blood pressure medications for years, you could be running low without ever realizing it. Once I encourage Raymond to sit outside each morning, just 15 minutes a day, and to take a gentle vitamin D supplement between 800 to 2,000 UIU, depending on individual needs. He came back 6 weeks later, and I'll never forget what he told me. I still think of her every morning, but now I step out onto the porch, and the sunlight doesn't feel like a stranger anymore. I walk more steadily, I stand a little taller, and my heart feels lighter. Vitamin D doesn't just strengthen your bones, it nourishes your spirit. It helps bring back your rhythm, your confidence, your energy. When your vitamin D levels are balanced, you may find you stand up quicker without feeling dizzy, your muscles feel more responsive, you walk with greater ease, and you may even sleep more deeply at night. Climbing stairs without that out-of-breath feeling halfway through. And maybe most importantly, feeling less afraid of falling because your muscles and nerves are working better together. Your reflexes are sharper, steadier. And the beautiful thing is this. You don't need to run out to the pharmacy right now. You just need to open a window, take a walk through your garden, or sit with a good book under the morning sun. Just 15 to 20 minutes a day, between 8 and 10 a.m., can be the most powerful and free medicine you'll ever give yourself. Now, if you live in a place with little sunlight, or during the winter months when the days are dim, talk to your doctor about a safe vitamin D3 supplement. But whatever you do, don't wait until you fall. Take action while you still feel a little off balance. Let me close this part of our conversation with something simple. Light, if you let it in, doesn't just warm your skin. It warms every tired muscle, every slowed nerve, and every cautious step you're still afraid to take. Now let's talk about calcium and the truth no one really tells you about how to use it effectively. Thank you for listening. Thank you for still believing in your body's ability to heal. No matter your age, the sunlight still belongs to you, and so does your strength. You know, there's one mineral we've all heard about since childhood. Back then, we drank milk to grow tall. As adults, we were told to drink milk for strong bones. And as we get older, nearly everyone hears the same advice. Take more calcium. But today, I'd like you to pause for a moment. Let's set aside what we've always been told, and let me show you a deeper truth, one that isn't spoken about nearly enough. I once cared for a woman named Rosalind, 70 years old, petite, gentle in her movements, always elegantly dressed. She came to see me because of persistent knee pain, aches in her lower back, trouble sleeping, and occasional nighttime leg cramps. I asked her gently, "Rosalind, are you taking any supplements?" And with complete confidence, she replied, "Oh yes, doctor. I've been taking calcium every day for the past 5 years." But when we did a bone density scan, the results were surprising. Her bones were still thinning, and worse, there were early signs of calcium buildup in her blood vessels. That's right, calcium isn't always the hero we think it is. Without a proper guide, like vitamin D and K2, calcium can go astray. Instead of strengthening your bones, it can start lining your arteries, hardening them, or settling into your joints, causing stiffness, discomfort, and pain every time you turn in bed or step down from a stair. I don't share this to scare you. I share it to help you understand. Calcium is just the building material, but whether you're building a strong house or making a mess depends entirely on how you use it. After age 60, your body naturally starts to absorb less calcium through the intestines, excrete more calcium through urine. And if all you're doing is popping calcium pills, without eating well, without moving your body, and without enough vitamin D and K2 to guide it to the right place, then that calcium could quietly become a burden on your circulatory system and your joints. So what should you do? Here's what I always tell my older patients. Don't rush to supplement if you're not sure your body needs it, and never take calcium alone. Start with simple steps. A warm glass of milk at night, a small serving of sardines or salmon with the bones, a natural, bioavailable source of calcium, a plate of steamed greens like kale or broccoli, and gentle movement, walking, stretching, gardening, so the calcium has somewhere to go, your bones. Because here's the truth no one tells you. Calcium only works when it's part of a team that includes vitamin D, vitamin K2, magnesium, movement, and a bit of sunshine. And you are the one who brings the team together. Stay tuned, because next, I'll tell you about one vitamin that quietly orchestrates your entire system, keeping your nerves, muscles, and blood flow in harmony. Until then, take a deep breath. You're not falling apart. Your body is just asking for wiser support. And you're here now, listening, learning, caring. That's more powerful than any pill. And don't forget to pair your calcium with vitamin D and K2, the perfect trio that helps calcium find its way home. After adjusting her diet and switching to a more bioavailable calcium, combined with D3 and K2, Rosalind came back 3 months later with a smile on her face. She told me, "Doctor, I don't wake up with a stiff back anymore. And the most amazing part, I'm sleeping deeper, and my knees don't make that cracking noise in the morning." I smiled, not because I'm some miracle-working doctor, but because she had started to truly understand her own body. And that, my friend, is the most powerful medicine of all. You see, we don't need calcium to live longer. We need the right kind of calcium in the right way so we can live stronger, walk steadier, and avoid a broken bone from something as simple as a minor fall. There's a sobering statistic from the National Institute on Aging. Out of every 5 people over age 65 who suffer a hip fracture from a fall, one will never regain the ability to walk independently again. And here's the kicker. Many of those patients had high calcium levels in their blood, but low bone density. Why? Because calcium alone isn't the solution. So here's what I want you to remember. Calcium doesn't build strong bones by itself. It's your lifestyle, the way you eat, move, and supplement wisely, that builds a solid foundation. If you're taking calcium every day, ask yourself, am I combining it with vitamin D and K2? Am I moving my body daily, even in small ways? Am I eating too much protein or salt, both of which can increase calcium loss through urine? And have I had a checkup lately to see if my blood calcium levels are too high? At this stage in life, every steady step you take is a small piece of your personal freedom. And that freedom, it doesn't come from one miracle drug or fancy supplement. It comes from the little things: the right type of calcium, a plate of green vegetables, a gentle walk on a quiet morning. Thank you for spending time with me today. Thank you for caring enough about yourself to listen, to question, to learn. Because understanding your body, that's not just health. That's self-respect. And don't forget to pair your calcium with vitamin D and K2, the perfect trio that helps calcium find its way home. After adjusting her diet and switching to a more bioavailable calcium, combined with D3 and K2, Rosalind came back 3 months later with a smile on her face. She told me, "Doctor, I don't wake up with a stiff back anymore. And the most amazing part? I'm sleeping deeper, and my knees don't make that cracking noise in the morning." I smiled, not because I'm some miracle-working doctor, but because she had started to truly understand her own body. And that, my friend, is the most powerful medicine of all. You see, we don't need calcium to live longer. We need the right kind of calcium in the right way so we can live stronger, walk steadier, and avoid a broken bone from something as simple as a minor fall. There's a sobering statistic from the National Institute on Aging. Out of every 5 people over age 65 who suffer a hip fracture from a fall, one will never regain the ability to walk independently again. And here's the kicker. Many of those patients had high calcium levels in their blood, but low bone density. Why? Because calcium alone isn't the solution. So here's what I want you to remember. Calcium doesn't build strong bones by itself. It's your lifestyle, the way you eat, move, and supplement wisely, that builds a solid foundation. If you're taking calcium every day, ask yourself, am I combining it with vitamin D and K2? Am I moving my body daily, even in small ways? Am I eating too much protein or salt, both of which can increase calcium loss through urine? And have I had a checkup lately to see if my blood calcium levels are too high? At this stage in life, every steady step you take is a small piece of your personal freedom. And that freedom, it doesn't come from one miracle drug or fancy supplement. It comes from the little things, the right type of calcium, a plate of green vegetables, a gentle walk on a quiet morning. Thank you for spending time with me today. Thank you for caring enough about yourself to listen, to question, to learn. Because understanding your body, that's not just health. That's self-respect. Here's why vitamin B12 deficiency is so common and often overlooked. As we age, our stomach produces less acid, which is essential for absorbing B12 from food. Medications used for diabetes, acid reflux, or arthritis can further block B12 absorption. And if you've been following a diet low in meat, eggs, or dairy, your body may not be getting enough of this vital nutrient naturally. I still remember one patient vividly, George, a 72-year-old retired electrical engineer. He sat across from me and said, "Doc, I used to design entire electrical systems for factories. Now I can't even figure out how to place my next step." His blood work revealed a significant B12 deficiency. We started with something simple, a small sublingual B12 tablet once a day. 2 weeks later, George came back, and I could tell, just by the way he walked into the room, his eyes brighter, his voice more lively. He said, "I'm not waking up startled anymore, and I can finally walk down my hallway without holding onto the wall." You see, vitamin B12 doesn't make you stronger overnight, but it helps you reconnect with your body. Because walking isn't just a function of muscle, it's a symphony, a delicate balance between your nervous system, your spatial awareness, and your sense of control. And B12? It's the conductor keeping that orchestra in sync. So how do you know if you might be low? If you've been experiencing tingling or numbness in your hands or feet, a sense of being off balance, and especially when your eyes are closed, fatigue that doesn't match your level of activity, forgetfulness or mental fog, feeling unsteady when turning or standing up quickly. These could all be subtle signs of B12 deficiency. Get a blood test. It's simple, but it could prevent an unexpected fall or even a bout of confusion that takes months to recover from. You can get vitamin B12 through foods like beef, liver, eggs, dairy, or fortified cereals, sublingual tablets dissolved under the tongue, or injections if your body struggles to absorb it. And please, if you're over 60, especially if you're taking medications for acid reflux or diabetes, make it a point to check your B12 levels regularly. Look, B12 isn't magic, but when you're low on it, your energy, focus, and physical confidence can slowly drain away without you even realizing it. And when you replenish it the right way, you may feel something beautiful, a renewed connection, not just with your body, but with life itself. Because at this age, we're not trying to move faster. We just want to move steadier, to walk slowly, but with purpose, with balance, with peace of mind. And vitamin B12 might just be the quiet pair of shoes that helps you do that. Thank you for listening. If you saw yourself in any part of this story, don't stay silent. Talk to your doctor. Listen to your body, because you deserve to walk with confidence, whether you're 60, 70, or 80 years old. In a fast-scrolling world, your care and patience are a rare and valuable thing. Now let's talk about something most of us have experienced: magnesium, the unsung hero that helps muscles relax, prevents cramps, supports sleep, and calms the nervous system after 60. Have you ever been sound asleep, only to be jolted awake by a sudden stabbing leg cramp? You shoot up in bed, grabbing your calf, stretching, wincing, as if your own muscles are rebelling against you, twisting themselves tight. And even after the cramp passes, your sleep? Gone. I've heard this story so many times from older patients, always told in a tired whisper. There was one gentleman, 74 years old, who once told me, "Doctor, some nights I get cramps 3 times. It's like my body's mad at me, and I have no idea what I did wrong." Sometimes the answer is surprisingly simple. You're missing magnesium. Magnesium doesn't get the spotlight like calcium or vitamin D, but I like to call it the peacemaker of your nervous system and muscles. Because here's what happens. When your magnesium levels are healthy, your muscles contract and relax the way they should. But when magnesium is low, your muscles contract and don't release. That's when you get those painful cramps. When magnesium is balanced, you sleep deeply, your nerves are calm, and your mind feels at ease. But without it, you might feel restless, have trouble sleeping, or even experience low moods without knowing why. After age 60, your need for magnesium doesn't go away, but your ability to absorb it starts to fade. And unfortunately, a lot of things work against you. Blood pressure meds, diuretics, insulin, all flush magnesium out of your system. Stress, caffeine, alcohol slowly drain your levels without you even noticing. And many older adults don't eat enough magnesium-rich foods like nuts, leafy greens, whole grains, and legumes. I once treated a sweet woman named Annette, age 69. She came in complaining of little muscle twitches under her eye, restlessness at bedtime, and sharp leg cramps almost every evening after watching TV. At first, she thought she just needed to walk more, but when we ran her labs, her magnesium levels were very low. We started simple, just a handful of walnuts with her afternoon tea and a warm glass of water mixed with a small dose of magnesium citrate before bed, alongside some gentle stretching in the evening. And within just 10 days, Annette called me and said, "Doctor, I slept through the night for the first time in 2 years. And the strange thing is, I'm not afraid of the night anymore." Magnesium deficiency won't kill you overnight, but it slowly steals the comfort out of your everyday moments. If you've been noticing signs like nighttime leg cramps, feeling restless or sleepless even when your body is tired, little muscle twitches around your eyes or hands, a sense of inner shakiness, or even that odd chill down your back for no clear reason, then it's possible your magnesium is running low. So what can you do? Start with real, whole foods, simple and nourishing, dark leafy greens like spinach and kale, nuts and seeds, almonds, pumpkin seeds, chia, beans, whole grains, and a piece of dark chocolate, 70% cacao or more. Bananas, avocados, oats, and plant-based milks. If you need a supplement, consider magnesium citrate or magnesium glycinate. They're gentle, well-absorbed, and less likely to upset your stomach. But please, don't take magnesium blindly, especially if you have kidney issues. Always talk to your doctor first. Magnesium won't make you younger, but it can help you feel softer, calmer, more at ease, in your body and in your mind. It's like a warm hand on your shoulder at the end of the day, quietly saying, You've done enough for today. It's okay to rest now. I hope that after watching this video, you'll start seeing a warm glass of water before bed as something more than just hydration, but as a quiet ritual of recovery. That you'll look at your salad plate, a small handful of nuts, or a square of dark chocolate as little gifts you give your body. Not out of discipline, but out of care. Now, let's talk about potassium, a small mineral with a big job. Potassium is the key to balance. It helps you move without shakiness, without sudden cramps, without breaking into a cold sweat after taking a few steps. Thank you for staying with me this far. We're nearing the end of this journey together, but if you have questions, thoughts, or stories of your own, leave a comment. I'll read every single one like an old friend reading a letter from someone dear, with all the respect and sincerity in my heart. My friend, when we were young, we only cared about whether we could walk fast or slow. But as we grow older, something else matters more. Can I walk steadily? Can I walk with confidence? Because that kind of stability doesn't just come from strong muscles. It comes from something quieter, something that holds balance inside you. And that something is called potassium. Potassium may be a trace mineral, but it plays the role of a conductor, keeping your nervous system, muscles, and heart in rhythm. Without it, you might notice a slight tremble in your hands or legs, especially in the morning. Muscles that tire too quickly, even after a short walk. Leg cramps that sneak up at night. And sometimes, you take a step and feel like the floor moved. Even though it didn't, I remember treating a man named Benjamin, 75 years old. He said something I'll never forget. "I don't mind walking slow, doc. What scares me is not knowing if my next step will hold." When we tested his blood, his potassium levels were low. We didn't need medication, just a few changes in his diet. He started eating more bananas, sweet potatoes, and leafy greens. He drank a glass of fresh coconut water a few times a week, and he cut back on salty foods because too much sodium causes the body to flush out potassium. 3 weeks later, Benjamin came back to my clinic. His steps were firmer. He no longer needed the handrail to climb the stairs. He smiled and said, "I'm not afraid of walking anymore. I found my rhythm again." You see, potassium isn't magic, but it creates the conditions for magic to happen. So your muscles move smoothly, your heart beats steadily, your mind stays alert, and you can walk without fear. If you've been experiencing frequent leg cramps, fatigue without a clear reason, shaky hands, or that unsteady feeling when you turn quickly, then it's time to think about potassium. But here's what's most important. Don't self-medicate. Start with real food. And if needed, ask your doctor to check your potassium levels, especially if you're taking diuretics, blood pressure medication, or have kidney issues. And now I want to gently encourage you to take action. Not for this video, but for you. Leave a comment below if you've ever experienced cramps or balance issues. I'll respond to every single one, personally and sincerely. If you found this video helpful, share it with someone you care about. They might need this information but don't know where to begin. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel so we can keep walking this journey together, one step, one story, one solution at a time. And my friend, if you're still unsure whether you're on the right track in caring for your health, just remember this. Every step you take today to care for your body is one step away from falling, fatigue, and losing your independence later. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening, from the very beginning to the very end. And thank you for believing in your own inner strength, no matter your age. I'll see you in the next video, where we won't just talk about health, but about how to live well and live with purpose.